Grandma Moses, one of the most famous and beloved personalities in America today, has written a charming autobiography called My Life's History. It is featured in the current issue of McCall's and will appear in book form, published in February 1952 by Harper Brothers. Today we journeyed to Eagle Bridge, New York, right into the living room of the illustrious Grandma Moses, a charming lady who is 92 years young, Grandma?
91, but I'll soon be 92.
Tell me, how many grandchildren do you have?
11 grandchildren,
Great-grandchildren?
17 great-grandchildren.
Grandma, in the article, which is in McCall's magazine this month, the current issue, your painting, The Checkered House, is reproduced. Is that one of your favorite paintings?
Not the favorite painting, but it is historical, and I like to paint those things.
What is the history behind it?
It was the headquarters of General Baum at the time of the Revolution, and afterwards was his hospital. And then it was sold as a tavern for the stagecoach, where they exchanged horses.
In the McCall's article, you refer to paintings which you did as a child. Do any of those still exist?
I doubt if there is any of those in the world.
Grandma, in the article in the current McCall's, Grandma Moses' My Life's History, you say, I believe, a very charming phrase there, that you didn't bring up children, they just came up. I wonder what you mean by that.
Well, they just grew up. They took care of each other a great deal in those days. The mothers didn't have to watch over them all the time.
Grandma, as you know, this current issue of McCall's has a preview of the book which you've written. I wonder if you could tell me, how did you happen to write the book telling your life's history?
For the want of something else to do, I started the book. Well, Dr. Collier came and asked me if I wouldn't write something. I told him no, I had too much work to do. We were on a farm and were very busy. But he pleaded and pleaded until I consented to write a little. And I did and sent it down to him, telling him that I did it in great haste and he should dot the I's and cross the T's.
Grandma, do you paint pretty regularly now?
I try to paint a little every day, and sometimes all day.
Your pictures have been widely used on Christmas cards for Hallmark Brothers. Do you know when Hallmark started using them?
I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago.
Grandma Moses, I have just one more question I'd like to ask. Would you mind reading one paragraph from your book, My Life's History, which appears in the current issue of McCall's?
The first time I ever knew that there is such a thing as a birthday was when I was 7 years old. My brother and I were out in the orchard in the black cherry tree. We nearly lived in that tree, as the cherries were just right and nice. This day, Mother called me into the house. She said, "Anna Mary, do you know how old you are?" I didn't know what about being old. I hadn't heard about any such thing. "Well, today you are 7 years old." And then she went on and told me how we had birthdays. She told me that today is your 7th birthday. What does that mean? I wanted to know. It means that I had been in the world for 7 years, she said.
Thank you very much, Grandma Moses. The December issue of McCall's magazine, now on the newsstand, features a charming merry-go-round made of candy and cookies. Here to tell you about it today is Helen McCully, food editor of McCall's. Helen, where did the idea of a candy and cookie merry-go-round come from?
Well, I hardly know, to tell you the truth. It came right out of our subconscious, probably. But you may remember that the carousel or merry-go-round in Central Park was burned down this year, and recently they found a new one to replace it. And I suspect that really that's where we got the idea. It followed, actually, from the gingerbread house that we had on our Christmas cover last year. And then, of course, we were looking for something fresh and new, and the merry-go-round seemed to us very fresh and, I think, very new for Christmas.
And very merry for Christmas.
And very merry indeed, yes.
Helen, you have the current issue of McCall's in front of you there. I wonder if you could just describe some of the candies that go into making it.
Well, the base is made of marshmallows, and the roof is held up by brilliant red and white candy canes. Everybody knows those. And the roof itself is made of red sugar, that is, white granulated sugar colored red and alternating with strips of white sugar. The base that holds the roof and attaches to the marshmallows is made of cookie dough. And the little animals, the lions and the reindeer, etc., are made of gingerbread dough or gingerbread cookies.
Helen McCully, is it true that almost any woman could make a merry-go-round like the one on the cover of December McCall?
Yes, indeed, it is true, and I'm very glad to be able to say that. It's true if the woman has the pattern, and the pattern can be bought anywhere that McCall's patterns are sold. The pattern is so easy to follow that women who've never even seen it before have made little merry-go-rounds every bit as beautiful and every bit as perfect as the one you see on McCall's Christmas cover.
How long do you think it would take an average housewife to make one of these merry-go-rounds?
Well, we like to think of it as a family project. We like to think that everybody gets on the act, Daddy and Mother and Grandmother and all the children. I think it would take a very good worker the best part of an afternoon and evening, and that's being fair, I think.
In other words, Helen, you sort of see the McCall's merry-go-round as a Christmas, a family tradition.
Just like trimming the Christmas tree, really.
Or working on
pulling candy.
that sort of thing, yeah.
Yes.
Helen, how would you go about making one of these? What materials would you need for it?
Well, you would need cookie dough, gingerbread dough, the candies, and I think perhaps I should tell you right here that you can buy the candies all boxed and complete. They're put out by Mrs. Stevens Candies in Chicago, and they're sold by thousands of stores right across the country. But if a person can't find them at their own shop, they can write to Mrs. Stevens in Chicago and get the complete set of candies.
Now, Helen, suppose that a woman is not able to buy the Stevens candy package and can't find some of the candies which McCall's recommend for making this merry-go-round. Can you substitute other candies?
Oh, of course you can, and I think that's great fun. I think it's fun to use one's imagination. The only thing you couldn't substitute is the candy canes, but all the other things can be substituted, and I should think a mother and her children might have a lot of fun going to a shop and choosing the candies they'd like to use to decorate their merry-go-round.
Well, Helen McCully, you recommend this as a family project, a group project. Is there something in this for women's clubs and that sort of organization?
I'm awfully glad you brought that up. Yes, there is. Last year we were told by many of our readers that they made the gingerbread house and took it to children's hospitals. And little children who were confined during the Christmas season went wild, and I use that word advisedly, over the gingerbread house, and finally, I understand, ate it up.
Well, Helen, it looks to me like McCall's is going to make this a very Merry Christmas for lots of hospitals and children and families.
Yes, McCall's is going to make it a very merry go-round Christmas.